Hello again, YouTube. This is Ryan Hayworth, and this is my lesson 3.2, and today we are going to talk about the pen tool, which is probably one of the most important tools in Adobe Illustrator. So let's get started. I shall switch over to Chrome and paste in the exercise files. And again, these will be available in the description, and you'll just simply download them. And then we'll go back to the desktop, or wherever you happen to place them. I put mine on the desktop, and move that out of the way. And here we have our template file. This will be the same setup as all of the others. And here is the lesson. Oops, I hit the wrong button. I wanted to do Control-0 to fit the artboard in the window and make sure we are on the pen tool. Now the pen tool is this one right here, and by default it should be, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the fifth one down, or if you have the wider version, it's this one here on the left, third row down, and it's the pen tool. So I have, in my case, I have the Smart Guides on and Snap to Point also turned on, just to make it a little bit easier to make sure that everything is lined up. So the instructions for this part, we're going to draw some lines, use the pen tool, which is the P key on the keyboard, or over here on the toolbar like I showed you already. And we will draw some lines. First, we will click to make a starting point, and then move the cursor to a new location, and then click the button in a new location to make another point. And in this case, we're just going to do these 2 points, and then we will deselect and release the pen, and we've made our line. Okay? So with the default colors, stroke and fill, as you can see down here, if you need to get back to them, it's D on the keyboard or this button right there. And we will start. So the example shows click to make a point, and then click to make the next point. So let's do that. We'll start there, click, and click again. Hey, look, we've made a line. Now, you could continue to make shapes, but I want you also to practice deselecting your line. We will get into more intricate shapes here in the next part of the lesson. So right now, we're just going to make 2 points to make a line, and I want you to practice that, and then also practice when you're done, hold down Control and click the artboard so that we've released the pen. Nothing is selected. It's essentially deselecting our artwork so that we don't continue that line. So then I can go to the next one, click, and click, Control, deselect, and just wherever you want to on these lines until they are all completely drawn in. And I'm not going to sit here and do that for you or do that with you, because good grief, that would take a long time and it would be kind of a boring video to watch. So again, click the first point, click the next point, Control to click off, and deselect everything. So I will have you pause the video, and I will wait until you catch up, and then we will continue on with the next part of the lesson. Alright, so when you feel comfortable that you have this portion down, let's continue on to the next part of the lesson. And again, that will be use the scroll bar at the bottom to go to the right, or simply click the next artboard button over here on the menu. Alright, here we have some different shapes, and we're going to use the pen tool to draw some shapes. And as before, click to start a line, then click again to make the second point along the line and all the subsequent ones. So however, keep clicking the points around the shape. When you are done, you will click on the origin point to complete the shape. And note that your pen, as your pen gets near where the origin point is, the cursor has a small O next to the pen icon, and click that, and ta-da, you made a shape. So here is what it looks like. As you look here on this part of the lesson, you'll see that. So let's get started. I will click and then follow around our shape. And if you have the snap to point, it should make it a little easier. And there is the O for the origin, and you can see that right there, and it marks that point where we will complete the shape. So continue on going around each of the shapes here on this artboard. Get some good practice using the pen tool and creating shapes, because as you see, it is fun. And again, I will pause the video so that you can take your time. Actually, I will have you pause the video because I can't do that for you. So go ahead and pause the video and take your time filling out all of these shapes here with the pen tool, clicking around the points, and then pick it back up when you're done, and I will see you in the next little section. So again, we will click the next button on the artboard navigation down here, and now we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to use the pen tool again. We're going to draw curved lines, and as before, we will click to start a line, and this time, instead of simply clicking to add points, we will try to click and drag the point to create handles for the curve. And you can see that right here in this example. The curve of the line will follow somewhat the distance and direction of the handle you just added. And note the curve of the corner in the shape. So you can see this one is a straight corner, this one is a curved corner. So to maintain the straight corners, simply click, and to create curved corners, click and drag the curve. And again, when you're done, click on the origin point to complete the shape, and ta-da, you will have made a shape with curved lines. So here's how we're going to do it. We'll start, and I will start right here, and then somewhere over here I need to find a place to put an anchor point. And if you have your smart guides and your snap to point on, it'll be easier to see where those points need to be. And of course, you don't have to do them exactly like I have. This is practice. So just get as close as you can. And here, just take your best guess at where that's going to be, and see if you can just follow the path around. And whoops, sometimes the smart guides get in the way, and sometimes they're kind of a pain, and so you can see that this isn't exactly on that point. So just do your best, and you'll end up with some interesting shapes. Hopefully it will help you get to use the pen tool. And again, it also is fun, so make sure you're having fun, otherwise why bother? And then just remember, when you get near that end point and you see that that anchor point turn into the origin point, like this one right there. So what do you do when you have a point that you don't have quite in the right direction or place? For that, use the A for the direct selection. Grab the point, it's the handle there, and see if you can't adjust it until it gets to the shape that you're looking for. So that might be kind of a two-part assignment. and we'll go into it in greater depth as we go on through the lessons. But for now, just go ahead and use your pen tool, clicking the points, adding curves where you need to get as close as you can to those shapes. And again, I'll pause, or I'll have you pause here and turn it back on when you finish this part of the assignment. Okay, when you finish this one, we'll move on to the next one. And again, that's with the next button down here or with the scroll bar, and we'll just go to the right. Okay, so while we are on this artboard, the instructions say that we're going to complete some shapes. So use the pen tool to edit the shapes, and note how you can use the pen tool to continue a shape where you left off. So see how the pen cursor changes when you get near an open anchor point. In an open anchor point, you'll see this little line right there. It looks like a line segment. So it's a line segment. You can click on it to complete the shape. So click on the anchor point to continue the shape, and then connect to the origin, and you'll see that. And ta-da, you're completing shapes now. So as you see, if I hover over this line, you see the Smart Guide is telling me that it's a path. And as I get near that anchor, you see that you see that indicator that says I can continue this line. Well, let's click that, and then let's go over here to this other section, or this other part, and you can see that now the icon has changed to the origin point. So this is completing that shape. And then once you've done that, hold down Control or Command on a Mac and click off on the artboard, and you'll see that we've completed that shape. So then we'll go to the next one that's missing, and it's this middle part of the A here. So we'll click on this Continue, and you can choose either one. I mean, this one is the same as this one. I mean, it'll give you the same effect. So click, and then go up to Complete on the origin. Click again, and so it's completed. And then Control and click off. Now this one, it looks like it would not be. It looks like it would be harder. However, you can just. Whoops! What in the world happened there? I want this line. Well, it wanted me to do that line. That's very peculiar. So can I do it from here? Okay. And then instead of the origin point, it has a little bit of a different, it looks like a shape, a little square with a line going around it. Basically that just means you're still completing the shape, but in this case it's not to the origin point. So we'll click this one, and well, now it's making me out to be a liar. For whatever reason, okay, there it goes. It didn't give me the icons that I was going for. However, it did the same effect. So there we go. Click this one, and it just appears to have a mind of its own. I'm clicking that shape and I want it to go there. Okay, now I'm clicking that shape and I want it to go there. Well, sometimes, apparently I might need to revisit this assignment. But see if you can just click and complete the points as they are shown, and then you can always add a curve to it. Alright, so do your best to see if you can finish these shapes, and then when you're done, as you'll see, the word says, or the words say, making shapes is fun. So see if you can complete them, and I will have you pause the video now and go ahead and do that and complete the shapes, and then pick it back up and we'll go on to the next part. And I'm sorry for the apparent technical glitches that we're having here. I didn't intend that, and I'm not sure exactly why that's happening. So good luck, and let me know if you have a different experience with it. Okay, so making shapes is fun. This is awesome. Let's move on to the next one though, to continue the lesson. And now in this case, we're going to do a two-step process. The first step, we're going to use the pen tool to edit the shapes. So as you get near a path, first you have to have it selected. I should have put that in there. Your cursor will change to the add anchor point, and you can see the difference here. You notice how the one that I'm showing has the asterisk next to it, which is basically your normal drawing pen. But as it gets near an anchor or a line, as it gets near a line segment, it will have a plus sign next to it if that line segment is selected. So that way you can add an anchor point on that line. So remember from earlier lessons that you can move anchor points with the direct selection tool. So here's what we're going to do. We've got these shapes. We're going to first select them. So it's selected, you see that? And we will add anchor points simply by clicking on the line. And in this case I need to add 2. And so then I can go to my direct selection tool, which is either holding down Control if I've already got it over there. I can go up here to the toolbar, or I can simply press A. And the reason I would do the Control version is because I want to get back to the pen tool for the next shape. So in that case I'll do A, P to get to the pen tool, and then simply hold down Control or Command on a Mac, Control on a PC, and I can get that direct selection tool, and I can move those shapes, and whenever I let go of Control or Command, then I'm back at the pen tool. So let's go to this shape, click on it, click to add a path, or an anchor on that path, and then let's move that by holding down Control. Click on this one. We'll add 2. So here's 1. Hold down Control or Command to move it. Hold down Control or Command to move the next one. And you'll just finish up all of these shapes, and you can pause it here. Actually, this is fairly quick. I'll just do it with you so that you can see where we need to go. Let's add 2 down here. Whoops. If you're not selected on, if you don't click exactly on the line, you'll end up creating another anchor point out in the middle of space. So let's click on that line, make sure that we're there. And that can actually be kind of tricky if you have a stylus that has a large tablet area, because then it makes it kind of harder to see where you're clicking. And in this case, wow, look at that. I have to try and find out where that point is supposed to go. There it is. Okay. So now we'll click on this shape, click to add a line, or a point, click to add another one, drag it into place. Here's one we need. Click to drag it into place. Oh, it's becoming a star. Isn't that fun? Stars are one of my favorite shapes in Illustrator. I don't know why, they're just fun. And as you see, if I don't have it selected first, I'm just going to make a point. So let's just make sure that we're selecting, then click, and then drag. Alrighty. Okay, so now we have all of these shapes filled out, and we can move on to the next section. And again, anytime you want to redo any portion, either close the file down without saving and then reopen it, or you can just undo as many times as you need to get back. And again, undo is Control-Z on a PC, Command-Z on a Mac. All right, next board. And here we are doing just the opposite. Now, here's where it looks a little interesting. The lighter blue is the one, are the shapes that we're going to be modifying. And the darker blue is where we need to change the shapes into, as opposed to the previous screen where we had the dark blue that we filled out to where the lighter blue were. So now we're going to just do the opposite, and I'll show you this. So before we were using the pen tool to add anchor points. In this case, we're going to use the pen tool to remove anchor points. And it's the same kind of process. First, we need to select the shape, and we'll do that by holding down Control on a PC, Command on a Mac, so we get that shape selected. And then, as you get over an anchor point, you'll see now instead of a plus sign, we have a minus sign. And you may have experienced this if you accidentally clicked twice before while you were adding points and then immediately removing them. It'll look like this here. It's got a minus next to it, and as it's over the anchor point. So here we go, and we'll simply click that, and away goes the anchor point. And now the shape is how it is supposed to be. So we can control and click off of that. We can click on the next shape, and then we'll hit the anchor point that's out of place with that, and it disappears. We'll do the same over here. Oh, and there's two of them. Okay, and now we'll do this one, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll click on this one, get rid of these two. Click on this one, get rid of these 3. Click on this one, get rid of these 7. Okay, now we're done with this portion. Again, if you want to go back and practice some more, go ahead and do that. Also, in this case, if you want to change these up a little bit, you can keep removing anchor points until you have a straight line. So, you can just keep clicking and clicking away. Nobody's grading this. It's whatever you need to do to practice. So just have fun with it. And again, if you need to redo it, simply close the file and reopen it. All right, we'll go to the next, and this is number 7. And as you can see, this is the last page. But that's good, because there is one more thing we can do with the pen tool. And as you near an anchor point with the pen tool, if you try holding down the Alt key on a PC or Option on a Mac on your keyboard, you can see the cursor changes to the Convert Anchor Point tool. And again, you have to have the object selected first. I should put that in the instructions. I didn't do that, I'm sorry. Use this to convert anchor points from corners to curves and back. And so to convert to a corner, so a sharp corner like this, simply click with the Convert Anchor Point tool. To convert to a curve, click and drag some curve handles from this point. So as you see on this one, and we're going to be changing, in this case we're going to be changing the dark blue shapes, and so they match the light blue shapes. So here we have this rectangle. We want it to look something like this. So we can hold down, if we hold down the, well, first let's Control to click on that shape. So we're on the shape and we have it selected. Then we'll hold down the Alt or Option key, and we'll get near this anchor point, and then we can drag out the handles until we get it to where we want it, and then we simply let go with our mouse, and then we can let go with our Alt, and that will convert that. So let's go to the next one, and we're going to do just the opposite. We're going to hold down Alt, and we're just going to click this point, and as you can see, that is the shape that we wanted to make it. So that's what we're going to do. Alright, so do this one with me. Hold down Control or Command on a Mac, Control on a PC, click the shape so that it's selected, then switch to holding down Alt, and as you hold down Alt, get over the anchor point, and in this case we're just going to click it to make a straight line. And we'll do the same over here. And now we've got a hexagon shape. And in this one, we're going to do this the opposite. So let's select the shape, hold down Control, see if we can drag the anchor handles, or excuse me, hold down Alt. Hold down Alt to drag the anchor handles out, and see if we can match that. I think we've got it. Okay. Now this one's kind of tricky. There's more. So we'll select the object, and we will hold down Option or Alt and click the points. And now they've become straight lines. However, watch what happens here. I can either convert the anchor points, or I can remove them. Because the straightest distance, I mean, it's a straight line between 2 points, right? So I can either remove them or convert them. Of course, this exercise is to convert them, so let's do that. Holding down Alt, simply click on the curved lines, and now they're straight. Okay, and now we have a regular straight rectangle here. Let's hold down Alt. I'm sorry, not a regular rectangle, that would be a square. But anyway, it's a rectangle with straight lines, and we want to make them curves. So we'll click on these points while holding Alt or Option, and there we go. And we'll do the same down here. And you may be looking at it and think, I don't know which direction I'm supposed to pull my handles. Whoops. That's okay. Just don't let go, and you can always correct them. So there it goes. Those are some pretty funky shapes, and this is the end of the pen tool. And one more thing that I didn't mention, actually I kind of mentioned it earlier. So if you have a point or an anchor point handle that's out of shape that you want to adjust, you can always get the direct selection tool and click on the point and move the handles, or you can move the point itself, and that's just by directly selecting the anchor point rather than the whole object. So don't forget that. That's part of the features that you can use with Illustrator. Not so much the pen tool, although it is in use in the pen tool, but it's more of a direct selection kind of thing. Anyway, have fun with this, and I really hope that you get to work with the pen tool as familiar with it as you can possibly be, because it is, like I said, it's one of the most powerful tools in Illustrator. So good luck, good job, and keep at it, and I'll catch you next time.